Picture this: three library staff members trapped inside the South Charleston Public Library. Aaron, Toby, and Josh, each with divergent tastes, tasked with watching each other's films. Can they survive with their sanity intact? Find out on Real Opposites, a library podcast about movies.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Real Opposites. I'm Aaron,
I'm Josh.
I'm Toby.
and we are back with our special Pauly Shore episode.
Bet you didn't see that coming.
I know, right? I thought this was going to happen. And this was supposed to be one of our, what we dub as Toddcasts, where Todd, our director, joins us. But he was unable to make it for this podcast, but he is planning to join us for our next one,
Which is going to be Sinners.
we are switching up our format a little bit. I think we alluded to it before, but what we're going to do is we're going to try something new, and in that newness, we're going to be watching a new movie that is out in theaters or a new movie that's out on DVD
We're new to streaming.
or new to a streaming service. Just something that is new. We're going to watch it and review that. And then on our other podcast of the month, we will do
Our normal thing.
our normal thing where we pick a movie. So that's going to be our new format for a while.
So it's one where we pick a new movie, and the other one where we inflict pain on the others.
Right,
Right. We ran out of ways to torture each other effectively. So we needed to break it up a bit.
Well, and there's all kinds of new stuff coming out
Yeah.
that all of us are
wanna
excited
see.
about. So we just want to be able to review those as well. And, it'll be neat to review things that are current. So that's going to be the new format going forward. But for this one, it is the same old format, but we did watch two movies. We watched Encino Man and Son-in-Law. And, of course, with a Pauly Shore episode, they both have Pauly Shore. So,
Arguably, like his two only hits.
Most
Like, it's-
watchable.
It was these two.
Biodome.
Yeah, but that was a flop.
Mm-hmm.
Like basically, he had these two, and then he did In the Army Now, which was a big flop, and then Jury Duty, which was a big flop, and then Biodome, again a big flop. So it was like basically he just got a little bit too big too quick.
I feel like Biodome has developed a following.
Biodome has definitely developed a cult following
Yeah.
in the intervening almost 30 years.
yeah, because I think if anything, when people think of Pauly Shore, Biodome is definitely one that comes up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, really, when you in reality, like he only made 5 movies, like studio movies,
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and Biodome was, I think, really the last one.
yeah.
I think that's the order that came out. Like Jury Duty and then Biodome.
Well, how many movies can you really make when you just play yourself? And all
I
of
mean,
that?
yeah,
like,
Yeah.
which is fine. It works.
Yeah,
In the
I mean,
90s
I was-
stoner comedy.
I was
like,
I was watching an interview with him, and basically
Mhm.
like his manager and like everybody around him was telling him, "Don't do In the Army Now,"
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it's basically just Stripes,
Right.
just a
yeah.
poor version of Stripes. And they were like, "You're gonna cut your hair off," which he does in the movie, and like that's a big part of his
Look.
appeal, and his look was like
Right.
his curly locks. And he said it was from there on, it was just like steady. Like
Mhm.
they
Come
just
on.
And then basically Biodome was just the nail in the coffin, and then they were just like, "We don't want you for any movies anymore."
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
But so that was
kind
like
of a shame,
yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, I mean, like as a comedian, and like
Mhm.
I mean, he like I think it's difficult for some people to younger people to really get understand how big he was.
Right.
Mhm.
Like he really was MTV. Like
Oh, for sure.
Mhm.
in the early 90s. And MTV really held a lot of sway in the pop culture.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
it was pop culture. I
Yeah.
mean, music, movies, like it was everyone who was cool was there.
Right. Exactly.
And
On
Pauly Shore.
TRL.
And
Yeah.
Pauly Shore was cool. I mean, he is he's weird, he's odd, but he is.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
just
cool.
that-
There's
That's
a
part of
vibe.
the appeal.
that,
Yeah.
he just like he has his own energy.
Mhm.
You know? And really, like he brought up something that was interesting is he was really ahead of the curve.
Mhm.
Because the kind of shtick he was doing was what would later become like kind of Adam Sandler and Jim Carrey and Will Ferrell,
Right.
like the transition from like a TV personality into a movie star.
Right.
Well, and also the stick of like this is a comedian who does this character essentially,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
doesn't really break. I mean, I think that's true for Adam Sandler and Will Ferrell until like very recently in their career.
Yeah, they'll take
They
a
were the-
dramatic role every once
Right.
in a while.
Right.
They were the same guy for like 15 years, and it
Yeah.
works. Like, and people find it comfortable when
Yeah.
you know you're gonna roll up to a Pauly Shore movie and you're gonna get
You know what you're gonna get, yeah.
Pauly.
Right.
You're gonna get what you get, and like there's something like comforting a little bit
there
about
is,
that.
yeah.
Like,
I almost wish we'd done like 3 and watched Biodome because I used to watch that a good bit on
Mhm.
on video, and I haven't seen it since. So
Yeah,
I'd be
that's-
curious how much I would hate it versus
Right.
how much I'd be like, oh, this is kind of.
I am less familiar with Biodome. The most of my familiarity for Biodome comes from the Pauly Shore episode of Futurama.
Oh yeah.
So like, but these two I watched several times in my
Yeah,
life. So
yeah.
I like.
I think Biodome is the one in my head that I
you remember.
think of him with.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, I don't know that I've ever seen the whole movie. I'm pretty sure I've seen it like on TV and seen snippets of it.
Yeah.
Like I know the gist of what's going on, but yeah, I don't think I've ever watched it like all the way through. But I hadn't with these either, of
Yeah.
course.
But on to Encino Man, Pauly Shore's feature film debut.
Yeah.
And what a
Oh,
cast.
okay. So this
What-
was his debut.
This was like where he's the headliner,
right,
Where he's the
that's what I mean.
main star.
What a
Um,
cast. Well,
What is
like
it?
I said, and what a cast. We have
Yeah, I mean,
Samwise Gamgee as Sean Austin. We have Brendan Fraser. We've got Robin Sweeney. And Robin. Nope, that's wrong. I mean, nope.
Robin Tooney.
Robin Tooney.
We have Megan Ward playing Robin Sweeney. That's what threw me off. And like, just
Ke Kwan.
yeah, Patrick Van Horn, which I know has
Yeah.
been in other
Yeah.
stuff. But like
It's
a cast. It's a cast.
yeah, like we were saying, like it's one of those movies that it can only exist in the '90s.
Mhm.
Like this movie, they wouldn't make something silly.
I
Like
couldn't imagine.
Oh, I can't.
because they would try to like over-explain everything. But if you watch it now, you're just like, yeah, sure, fine.
Right.
Like this is just fun.
Yeah.
Like there is something they don't. I mean, they're just whatever. Like dug him up out of the pool in the backyard, still frozen in the ice in sunny California.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
And like he's not just because I feel like scientifically or like from like a just humans brains breaking perspective, if you dig up he's going to be incredibly violent like the whole like it wouldn't be, like because he'd be freaking out, right? There's no
Yeah, well, he mean he'd be dead.
right.
No,
Well,
but-
yeah, minus the ice. Yes, if somehow you manage to find a living caveman, I feel like just the sheer freak out about like everything would, and they play with that a little bit, but then they're like, no, actually, for the purpose of this is a movie and we need to move on with the plot. He can understand English,
Yeah.
and pretty quickly.
He adjusts pretty quickly. To
He
it.
does.
Yeah, like-
Definitely adjusts quick.
And I don't know. It was interesting to see because I've basically only ever seen him play like a good kid or a good guy and things. It was interesting for like Sean Astin's like Dave's kind of a shitty guy.
Yeah, he's
Like he's a main character, but he's not a good dude.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. He's like he kind of reminded me of I don't know if either of you have seen Career Opportunities,
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
but the main character in that is basically it's very similar. Like you just want to kill him. Like
Yeah.
not quite. Sean Astin isn't that bad,
Mhm.
but he's still not a very sympathetic protagonist.
Yeah.
He's pretty selfish.
I mean, really, I think I don't know if it worked out to where like they cast the movie and like, oh well, we got this Pauly Shore guy. I'm sure he'll do good. And then they just were like, oh no, it's Pauly Shore. He's the star.
Mm-hmm.
More Pauly Shore.
Right.
Who's the Sean Astin guy is
Like actually,
kind of boring.
Yeah.
So more Pauly Shore, more Brendan Fraser.
Than Sean Astin's character, which is fine. I mean, I very much enjoyed him as Stoney, which what a name.
Yeah, his like oh man, like his language,
Yeah.
I guess, is like it's
I'm a unique weasel.
yeah, he's
Like-
it's like I forgot just how much of it was in this movie,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like this is gibberish. You're
Right.
just a man baby. I
Yeah.
like it tones down a lot when you get the son-in-law. It's like okay, I can
Mhm.
decipher words in between like the Wheeze and all
Right.
the Weasel and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's whole lines where it's just nonsense.
It's just yeah, but I mean, in that way, it's. I mean, I feel like you always know what he's saying. I mean, I feel like it's an excellent,
Yeah.
excellent practice in improv, right?
Yeah,
like
it's like a pantomime. Like
it's can I have a lemon drop, but writ large in stoner lingo. Like it's
Yeah.
just you know.
Well, then the funny thing about that is, so when he was approached for this movie, he was actually offered to play Link, the caveman.
oh really? I
Um,
could totally see that actually.
Yeah, but Shore didn't want to because he felt like the film would lose the appeal of his style humor and his unique Pauly speak.
But what if he
So-
came out of the ice doing Pauly speak? That would actually be kind of funny.
Right?
Because you'd be like, oh, I guess Neanderthals
Are just
did
Right.
speak.
Are
They
just-
just spoke
Yeah.
Pauly Shore.
Right, exactly.
That's actually a pretty
I
good
mean,
joke.
and at that point, yeah, I mean, at that point, you could have definitely played off that. So I
Yeah.
could see how that would work too.
But I also feel like, and I'm just gonna put this out there. Wow, Pauly Shore is very cool. I feel like he doesn't play as cool in like a high school scenario. The way that like, I mean, Brendan Fraser is just objectively attractive.
Yeah.
And like big and tall, and like I feel like he just. They're like the nerd boys trying to be cool. I feel like if you
Right.
Yeah.
had like you know
yeah. Pauly Shore doesn't work in that.
he doesn't work in that
respect,
in that respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He would work like it could be a very funny movie, but in the we're trying to get the like pretty girl in school to go to prom with us
Yeah.
doesn't quite work as well. With
Yeah, it doesn't. That's true. It would have to change the movie significantly.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Probably sure.
it would still be interesting. That would ultimately be like a really good joke.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I don't know if it would like sustain the entire film.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure that
I
the
mean, I think
movie-
it would be interesting.
I'm not sure what we got to sustain the entire film,
Mhm.
but it brings back a lot of nostalgia. This was in like a heavy rotation with a lot of other comedies
Yeah.
on video for me.
Yeah.
It's still a lot of fun.
I mean, I'm a huge fan of Brendan Fraser. I love this and The Mummy, obviously, and Airheads and George of the Jungle, and like
George of the Jungle is underrated.
it really is.
That
It
is a-
really is.
That is a great. People think it's just a stupid kids movie. That movie's really smart. It's really
Yeah.
funny. It's a great cast. I don't know.
I
Yeah.
haven't
defend
seen
that
it since
one.
I was a
Yeah,
kid. So I don't really
I
remember.
mean, yeah, I used to watch George of the Jungle all the time as
Yeah.
a kid growing up. It's a great one.
Well, funny enough, Brendan Fraser actually turned this film down 8 times.
Yeah.
Like, fine, I need a paycheck.
he thought he envisioned himself as more of a thespian, worrying that this film would just make him look goofy.
Well,
mean-
now he's winning an Oscar, so it's okay.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it is goofy, but
Yeah.
like it works.
It's-
it works for him. It's charming.
It's like one of
Yeah.
those like deals with the devil you have to make when you're an actor. It's like sometimes you have to do, especially if you're a serious actor,
Mm-hmm.
you have to do to like get your name out there.
Yeah. So is this your first time seeing Encino Man?
Yes.
Okay.
It
What
was.
did you think it being your first time seeing it?
I mean, it was fine.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those ones where I didn't see it in the
Mhm.
90s and I don't have that nostalgia. It's fine. I mean, it's funny. It's goofy.
Mm-hmm.
It serves its own purpose, I guess. I don't know that I would say it's very it pulls me in or anything.
Oh, I mean, no.
Like it doesn't have a real good I mean, like it has a plot, but it doesn't really have a plot that pulls you in and you want to see what happens.
This is
I mean-
this is one for the lulz. For like, I mean, like this one we put on the background. I didn't see this
Right.
one until a few years ago, and I liked it the first time I saw it. But
Yeah.
I think I just have a soft spot for like all the actors. In
Yeah,
the
it's
movie. Like,
admittedly like it's not a great movie. Like
Yeah.
I've watched it. If I take the nostalgia goggles off,
Mhm.
it's not very good.
Right.
But I don't know, just like
yeah, but
the
neither
nostalgia
does Harold
pl-
and Kumar go to White Castle, and like, yet there's still a place for it in the world.
yeah, yeah. No, I don't know. I really like. I still, it's a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
I definitely fall firmly in like the 90s stoner comedy vibe, right?
Oh,
Which is like
100%.
you're not getting a good movie going into it.
Yeah.
Like like it's just
I mean, it's really like a direct-to-video movie. They
Mhm.
just happen to have a little bit more money,
mhm.
Right.
and like the whole premise, like it really is like almost an SNL skit,
Writ large.
just kind of
Yeah.
expanded.
And I guess I didn't notice this till I was reading through some of the little stuff about it. This is a Disney movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Disney in the early '90s, kind of they kind of fractioned off into
This is a teen movie.
Hollywood Pictures, Hollywood Pictures,
Mhm.
Touchstone. I can't remember if they had Dimension yet, which was like their horror section.
Right.
And then they had Miramax. So they were trying to get out of
Just
just animation, just kids movies.
Yeah.
Because it came at a time like when all these started was in the mid '80s, and in the mid to late '80s, before like Little Mermaid and the Beauty and the Beast and like all the animated movies started really bringing in the money, Disney was not doing very well.
Right.
They had no big feature films. They sunk a lot of money into movies that didn't do well. So they gave these smaller production, companies a certain budget for each year, and how And I was watching a video on this like a few months ago, and so like each one had their hits and misses. Ultimately, they all floundered.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just a way for them to diversify their
Okay.
cinematic portfolio.
Yeah, I just had no idea, and I was reading through this, and it kept mentioning like where I said Pauly Shore didn't want to be Link. Is that the name? Link?
Yeah, Link.
Okay. Because of the talk and stuff. Well, that was pitched to a Disney person, and then I read something else that said Disney, and then the one that I read that I don't know is ever necessary is that there has been talks of a sequel for Disney Plus.
That just sounds like the worst. I know Pauly
Yeah.
Shore probably needs some money, but
They all of them have expressed that they would do it.
Right, yeah.
Which
I thought was
probably
crazy.
But
sounds terrible.
I think Brendan
but,
Fraser's still just polishing his Oscar.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like Ki Kwan too, just polishing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sean Astin's like, I was in an Oscar-winning movie.
Right.
Sean Astin's a good actor. He
Sean
just,
Astin's
doesn't,
a great actor.
He just doesn't get I mean, at this stage in his life, I guess he got kind of main roles, but
well, he
just doesn't really get main roles.
This would have been like I think the same year or right around Rudy too.
Yeah.
So like that was kind of his. I don't know. He's kind of like. I think ultimately, to a certain extent, he ends up playing himself a lot too.
Yeah.
Because I think he is kind of like Sam.
This is
He's
the
like-
most out of type that I've ever seen him
Yeah,
play. Really.
Totally.
Well, turns out he also didn't want to do the movie.
No, he had to be
Nobody-
offered. He had to be offered like $650,000.
He
Wow.
he
That
read
was-
it and thought it was the biggest piece of shit he'd ever read. Quotations.
But then he heard Brendan Fraser was doing it. I was like, well, I kind of want to work with him.
Yeah.
And I've heard of this Pauly Shore guy. You know what?
That is so
Just
funny.
give me an extra
Basically,
100 grand
nobody
and I'll
wanted
do
to
it.
do this film.
It looks like they had fun doing it though.
Yeah.
Like it feels like it was a fun time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
But-
honestly, as an actor, if I was presented with this, there would be a part of me that's like, this is gonna.
Right.
this is
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at
flop
this on paper. Like
hardcore. But
like when they're signing on, they're like, "Oh my God, this is going to end my career before it begins."
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
But I will give like credit to, Brendan Fraser, because I think he does a really good job.
his physical acting in this is great.
He really is terrific. There's a couple moments where he's like the more quiet moments where he's like putting things together in his head. He does a really
Yeah.
good job playing, a silent character. Really.
Mm-hmm.
And still making it extremely funny.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he's
his,
great at
his
that.
physical comedy is terrific.
Yeah.
I wonder how many of his stunts that he did for this. Because it looks they got a really good stunt double if he doesn't do most of them because
he seems very athletic.
I
so
think
I would
he's pretty
imagine a lot of
athletic.
it.
He might, yeah.
because when he goes off that second floor balcony,
Oh, yeah.
it looks like it's him the whole time. So either they got a real good stunt double or they
Maybe.
But and also, I want to know what happened to Robin Tooney's character in the middle of this film, where she just kind of went away and we never visited her again.
I didn't.
Like she's in it, she's all about the caveman, and then like
Yeah.
about halfway through, like she's still there, but like she just stops having a speaking role, basically.
Well, I'm just waiting on the director's cut.
So
Yeah.
But it was another Aaron fave, Rose McGowan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's her feature.
I saw
Well,
that.
And I was like, as I was watching it the other day, and I was like, you know, I don't know if she says anything, but she's like there
Yeah,
in the background of a few shots.
right.
And I was like, oh, it's Rose McGowan. She's
Yeah.
really young.
Yeah,
This is like 4 years before Scream.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I didn't realize this is saying that Brendan Fraser reprised the role of Link in Pauly Shore's other movies, Son-in-Law and In the Army Now, as brief cameos.
Oh, he's at the party in the
Yeah.
beginning. Yeah.
Okay,
So yeah, Brendan Fraser in Son-in-Law is at the party. I forgot about that. That's
that is
terrible.
right.
As Link.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Huh. So that's interesting that he
I-
also was
He
like,
appears
yeah,
to be
I'll.
eating a frog. I don't. I
That's
didn't
a blink
catch
and you
that.
miss it thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of cool though that he did little.
I
cameos.
vaguely remember him having a little cameo in the Army Now, which I unfortunately watched
Yeah.
along with this on my little Pauly Shore trip.
The first thing comment on Reddit under this is my headcanon is the character Crawl is in Son-in-Law is actually Stoney's new nickname after he goes to college.
Oh,
And it's the same character just in both movies.
I mean,
That's
that could be. It could definitely be a continuation of his high school into college years.
Yes. But no, I don't know. It's hard to say much beyond like, man, there is no like deep film analysis to be done on
no, it's a silly.
Right.
Encino Man. It's a silly teen movie, but it is charming. Like there's
Well,
just
it has
something-
its
yeah,
has its moments.
it does.
Well, and like I said, it was fine. I did not
Yeah.
like. I mean, it's not like I didn't like it. It's just it. But I think movies like this, and we've talked about other ones that are similar, but they have their place in time.
Mm-hmm.
They served a purpose. And especially if you've seen it then, there's still that nostalgia that links to it, and it still serves its purpose for you today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I didn't have that nostalgia, so it doesn't really serve as much of a purpose to me.
Yeah.
But like, hey, I've seen Encino Man now. Like,
Where does it rank next to like Tammy or
well, I didn't think it was as funny as Tammy.
Well, that's fair. Well,
But I mean, to be fair, I also didn't think it was as funny as Son-in-Law. So
yeah.
I do like Son-in-Law better. That's
Yeah,
We'll get there in a second.
okay,
Well,
good. I'm glad that we kind of feel the same.
Yeah.
Then.
yeah, Son-in-Law is like undeniably like a better movie.
Mhm.
It's much more charming.
It's
I think
a movie.
He tones down the whole Pauly speak too, which is
Mhm.
nice because
Yeah.
it just gets annoying after a while. And like in both movies are like fish out of water.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Just, he's kind of the fish out of water in the second
Yeah.
one, and that's fun to watch because, and for one thing, so like, both movies have really good supporting casts,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
especially Son-in-Law, and I feel like you get that even out of these like, not exactly top tier writing, scripts or concepts. You'd still end up with really good character actors
Mhm.
and supporting roles that really added some gravitas to the film, and not like
For sure.
Son-in-Law is the whale, but like Lane Smith and Carla Gugino, Timothy Thiessen.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
As far as cast, like, I didn't realize she was in this, and she is one of my favorites.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
you love her.
yeah. Oh,
Well, it's just Saved by the Bell.
Saved by the Bell, and one of my like first crushes.
Saved by the
of
Bell was
sure.
still like she was still on.
I mean,
that.
she's
It's just-
beautiful.
Well, probably
I
like
get
one
it.
of my second or third crushes, but definitely one of my crushes as a kid, and I absolutely love her and everything. So I was so excited for her to be in this.
It had been a while since I had seen Son-in-Law, and I forgot how much I actually like Crawl. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. He's supposed to seem like I guess off or something from the beginning, but he's just so nice. Like immediately, like
He
he's
is.
odd, but like he's just very unapologetically himself. He gives her very good advice from the start. Like, how can you decide to go home when you haven't decided to be here yet?
Yeah.
And just really becomes her best friend for a while. And I think that is a beautiful start to a romantic comedy. That's like,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I think, and going off of where we said, you know, some people see it as a continuation of Encino Man. Like you could see that. So he does less of the talk. So he's kind of grown up a little bit. He's matured. He, you know, but I think in this one he just has more heart, and I think the film has more heart. And I don't know. I think it's funnier.
This film, about halfway through, I get really mad about everyone being so mean to him for no reason.
Right.
Like, they're just being closed-minded and bad. Like, 'cause
Exactly.
he's just a sweet guy from California. Like, it's just.
He's just a goof.
He's just
Right.
a goober. Like, just let him be.
But like he
who
gets there and he
is.
tries. He's
Yeah.
like actually
Yeah,
trying to do
he's-
farm work, as ridiculous as it is.
And legitimately tries really hard, and kind of, he knows they're picking on him, but like, just, no, I'm going to keep doing it. And
Right.
it's, you know, like.
Well, that's how he like really earns their respect. Like,
Yeah.
just, you know, they keep hitting, you know, they keep throwing stuff at him. He's just
Yeah.
like, all right, I'll do it again.
Right.
You know, like, I don't know. It works really well as a romantic comedy and as a fish out of water story. Like clashing cultures and everything, and it's very. I mean, it's like such an easy movie to watch.
It is. And with this one, I thoroughly enjoyed this one. I would watch this one again.
Cool.
I could see this being something I watch every once in a while for a good laugh. I actually really enjoyed
Well,
it.
I mean, I think especially like as someone like, you know, in college, and when you leave home for the first time, you either just like feel lost forever, right?
Oh, for
or you
sure.
find a group of people that encourage you to be yourself, right?
Yeah.
And like, there's something so warm and wholesome about Crawl being like, hey, you know, this is who I became, but let's just go out and let's see who you want to be.
Right, exactly.
And she goes, oh, I like that. And he's like, then dress like that. Like, you know, then do that. Like,
Right.
you know, then be that and see if that fits for you.
Yeah.
And it ends up, it does. Like, that's who she actually is. And he's like accepting an open person that lets that come out.
Yeah. So it
which
is kind of a movie about that too, where
Yeah.
she's finding her own identity.
Right. And
in-
not
in a
just
way.
the identity that has been pushed upon her whole life. Like, that's when
Exactly.
she goes home and her boyfriend's like, well, I'm ready to live the life that I thought we were going to live since high school. And she's like,
Yeah.
No.
Not ready for that.
I don't want that anymore.
She doesn't want the football jock who's gonna in 20 years be remembering his.
One touchdown that
touchdown.
won the
Yeah.
game.
And who is sleeping around with, what's her face?
Tiffany Thiessen.
Yeah. Which I feel bad for her character too by the end of it.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
They
like,
really do a good job of like giving you a lot of ammo to hate.
like
that
you
dude.
hate him.
Yeah.
Like,
That's another thing I think that really pulled me into this was the
Um,
fact that there was a lot of character development.
Yeah.
You're really seeing these characters go through multiple stages. Even the side roles like Tiffany Amber Thiessen. You know, she's just the side chick, and then by the end, she's the one like in control
Yeah.
Right.
of that situation. And so I think that's one thing that really helped pull me in that I think Encino Man didn't really have.
Well,
Yeah.
it's clear I've seen that character before, but it's clear that she is this because she's hopelessly in love with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, she's taking the scraps that she can get
Right.
because
Yeah.
she's like can't seem to
There's
find
a lack of self-esteem.
self-esteem.
Yeah.
Yes, to like walk away from this man.
Yeah.
And it's like and that makes her pitiable rather than like.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
that role could very easily just be, you know, slutty girl.
Yeah.
Number
Right,
3,
exactly.
You know, but
Right.
they actually like I don't know. I mean,
The little moment when she walks out of the bar and she's like crying and she's
Yeah.
trying to figure out what happened
happened?
last
Yeah.
night,
Yeah.
and because she knows that would have been out of character for her,
Yeah.
but everyone in town assumes it's not
yeah.
because she's like the local, I guess, stripper and also Travis's like side piece.
Yeah.
But like you see in that moment, like, no, this isn't a girl who wakes up in strange men's beds with no memory how she got there very
Right.
Yeah.
often. Like,
and how angry she gets when she
and-
figures out what happened.
Yeah.
You know?
But that's what I
and-
say. They just put so much effort into into
Everyone.
pulling you into it and really giving you something to watch. I feel like every character from the beginning to the end has an arc.
Yeah.
Has even Grandpa
And
that mainly sits on the porch and whittles.
It's a very small cast too.
Well,
And-
and this is what Encino Man didn't really have, is it didn't have enough for the supporting enough meat for the supporting characters to really
Right.
chew onto. Like it's just like Encino Man has like your kind of basic, teen high school plot. It's just like, oh well, let's throw a caveman
Man in it. Right, exactly.
But this one is like, I mean, it definitely borrows a lot from other films, but they really give the supporting cast a lot to do. My favorite, I love her dad, Lane Smith.
Mhm.
I love the way he talks. I love, he's great in My Cousin Vinny. He's probably maybe one of my favorite Perry Whites from Lois and Clark, which I don't like that show, but I like him a lot on that show. But I love his relationship with his grandfather. I think his grandfather's hilarious, or his dad.
His dad, yeah.
His dad. And I love the bit, where Pauly Shore gets them, him and his wife's motors running.
Yeah.
It's really cute. I just love that whole subplot. Like he gets her all dolled up and
Yeah.
just get out of this farm
Yeah.
girl kind of
This
whatever.
rut. that
Yeah,
you're
this
trying to
rut,
get off
and
of.
Right.
put on some fun clothes and put on some makeup, put your hair up.
Yeah.
Have some fun.
And I think that goes to speak to like we were saying, fish out of water. But sometimes the fish out of the water isn't really the odd one. It's everybody that's stuck in their lane.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think
And it just shows that people can change and people have more in them that just needs acceptance to be able to be
come
that
out.
person.
Like, and that's what I think Crawl does. Like, even with the little brother, he's initially very like.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
also the thing that I love about Pauly Shore's character in this is that like, just everyone he meets, he tries to let them be who they are.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like he just like the little brother, he meets him. He like, messes with the little brother. He's like, I don't know about you or any of this. And then he's like, oh, you like computer, and like immediately like zones in on his interest.
Right. Exactly.
And then talks to him about it like it's a normal thing to be into.
Yeah.
And that's the first time that kid has experienced that. in
well,
his
and
life.
convinces
like,
the dad that it is normal.
Yeah. Like
no, this is just what
Well,
he's into.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like how he relates, like how how his dad treats him versus how he's treating his son.
his son. Yeah.
now.
That's
This this
It's almost like how you're always harshing on. Like, what does he call him? Like chubby cheeks? I forget. Like,
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I forget what he
Yeah.
calls him.
yeah, but like,
And that's another moment of the dad that I liked is when he's like playing video games or something with his son.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
he's trying.
he's trying.
yeah.
And I thought that was a cute moment too. I thought the actor I don't know, it just really showed another
Yeah.
part of him. I like that scene.
I also like really love the moment where he's like, where he realizes that he's actually into her is like after the dance or whatever, and he's like, oh hell, like basically,
Right.
and then walks over to the grandpa and was like, can I please whittle with you?
Yeah.
Because
Can I whittle
I
some
don't.
wood with you?
I don't know how I'm going to deal with the situation now that
Right.
I know that I actually like
Yeah.
have fallen for this girl.
And it's like I really love their relationship too, like right from the start. Like
Yeah.
the like scene where they're on the beach, they're
Mhm.
both like, checking out the
Other
the
people,
big muscle dude and the hot chick. And,
Yeah.
like
And he's
I
like,
don't-
you could do better.
yeah, and it's like I don't know
Things
that
like
that feels very genuine.
Right.
Like that feels like
that feels
that's something you do like when you're like just kind of friends and maybe it'll turn into something else. And
Exactly.
yeah.
you're just the way that how comfortable they are with each other.
Mhm.
I just found I think that's really relatable and authentic.
Right.
It's a really beautiful, solid friendship right from the off.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that maybe this movie doesn't get credit for. I'm not exactly sure. I've never really read much
about
critique about it, but it's lumped in with just Pauly Shore movies.
Mhm.
Which
Yeah.
you think you're going in, it's just something funny, whatever. But the difference between this and Encino Man, I think, is a ton. This one has the heart. It does have a sense of authenticity. You really feel what the characters are feeling, and I think it just pulls you in deep because of that. But
And it makes it funnier.
and it makes it funnier.
Well,
Yeah.
and I think
Yeah.
also anyone who is the black sheep, so
Yeah.
to speak, that like holds core to themselves very different views or very different things important to them than their family.
Sure.
This is this is incredibly relatable. She goes
Yeah.
home to like super small town with her, you know, new hair and like new
Mhm.
outfit, and her family's like, you know, I'm making faces. They can't
Yeah.
see that on the podcast, but like they're very like taken aback and like don't know how to deal with it and are immediately like semi-negative about it. And it's like, I feel like anybody who knew that they wanted away from where they grew up,
Mm-hmm.
and then like goes back home has had that experience. And I felt like that was incredibly like relatable here. Like even if it's just going to like, you know, just going to college, or even if it's like finding a new friend group, finding a way to like, and it is so heartwarming to see like the family come around to who she's become rather than just stay
Exactly.
like, you
Yeah.
know,
Come
Close it off.
yeah,
Yeah.
closed off to it, which is nice.
And and that's what I say. I just feel like this movie has so much to it, and I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. There was only one thing that I really didn't like about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have to have at least something.
Oh, at least
That's
always
fine.
I just don't like the name Crawl.
Oh,
Oh,
fair.
Yep.
didn't
That's
expect
it.
that.
That's it.
Crawl.
I actually,
I-
I like
for the first half,
I feel like
I-
it, like he looks like Crawl.
Right, like I get it,
Yeah.
but like for the first half, I didn't know if that's what they were saying for sure.
Oh,
Like, it just came because I didn't expect it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's 'cause
When
it's
when
how
have
he
I
got
ever
to-
heard of somebody else named Crawl?
That's because that's how he got to his dorm room his whole freshman year.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, I don't know, but for some reason I didn't
It's
enjoy
just,
that.
It's just a nickname. Like his real name is
Right.
Presumably
from Encino Man,
something else. Stanley.
Stanley. Yeah,
No. Yeah.
Stanley.
I guess that's
Um,
true.
I'd want to be called Crawl probably.
Yeah.
No offense to Stanley who's listening.
I guess that is true. It is a nickname.
it
I
is
don't
a
know.
nickname.
I think it was just like annoyed me for the first half because I didn't know what they were saying for sure.
Yeah.
What did you think they were saying?
I didn't know. I couldn't. I was like, oh well. I mean, like part of me thought they were saying Crawl, but I was like, that's not a name.
Name.
Oh, okay.
No, it's yeah.
So I didn't know if they were. I don't know.
I
don't
also
know.
love.
It's hard
I
for me
mean,
to just like just turn the subtitles on.
I will say it's one of the stupid.
Which is why I normally watch them with subtitles.
But like the family showing up to college to drop their daughter off and everything just being off the wall crazy was
Mhm.
hilarious.
Yeah.
To me.
Lane
was.
Smith's reaction to
It's-
everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
So
great.
funny.
He walks in the room with like Pauly Shore's upside down.
Yeah.
He's like, "Can I get a was he looking for a screwdriver or something?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just like, "What?" And he's turning his head, and he's like, "Oh hell no, we're good."
Yeah.
Just the way he plays it, he's such a great actor.
He
Yeah.
feels
I miss
like
him.
Hank Hill the whole time. Like
Yeah,
in that scene,
basically, yeah.
He's just like, I don't know what to do with this. And I like just the whole discomfort of the interaction where he like reaches out his hand to like say hello.
Yeah.
The guy goes
Mhm.
to reach his hand back and then he goes,
Yeah.
and it just is so cringeworthy. Where he just like does like the finger wiggle instead of like
Yeah.
actually shaking his hand. Because like the dad tries. He's like, we're in California now. This is just how it is. And I'm trying to be, and it's like you could slowly see his blood pressure like building and building and building until he
Yeah.
leaves. And I also love the first thing that Crawl says when he sees the dad again. So you know, immediately went over there and popped your daughter's trunk for her. Right
Oh
after
yeah,
you
that's a
left.
great one. Yeah.
And he's just like doesn't seem to know how to respond to that,
Yeah.
or has just realized that hasn't realized that that's not a euphemism. He's being legit. Like I fixed it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's I don't know that the movie does really well with like the clashing cultures.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And everyone like just has
Very
a very
pretty.
easy way about them,
Mhm.
like where you
Right.
just buy the character. And,
Yeah. Completely.
yeah, and I like it's very this movie is very cliche in all the best ways. Like when she finds out, like when she finds out what Travis was doing,
Mhm.
and she like I think like elbows him in the balls and then
Right.
hits him in the face, and it's like
Yeah.
I'd normally be like, oh God, really? This is very sitcom. But I don't know. I was like, cool.
It worked.
It works. It
Yeah.
works. This movie shouldn't work, but ultimately it really does. And I don't know, this one really holds up. Like if you got to watch one Pauly Shore movie, this is the one to watch.
I definitely agree. And I read that he was reluctant to do this movie as well.
He's reluctant to do anything.
Yeah, basically he was just
probably
reluctant.
involved like hanging
He's
by
like,
the pool.
maybe I'll do it. But it is one that he ends up being like the most proud of.
Yeah.
Which I could totally
fair.
see. I mean, this it's just a really good movie.
It's a solid movie. I mean, I think I've never met anyone who doesn't like Son-in-Law. Even people who don't particularly like the Pauly Shore bit. I feel like there's something to love in Son-in-Law. I mean, I grew up middle of nowhere, and like all of like the country characters don't really feel like caricatures.
Right.
They feel real.
Yeah.
Theo's a real guy.
Yeah.
Theo's a real guy that's got too much toxic. Not Travis Theo, like the farmhand.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got too much toxic masculinity going on, and this guy coming into the farm, like,
Yeah.
on some level bothers him, like,
Yeah.
uncontrollably to the point where he does, really helps do really terrible things on like Travis's behalf. And like the other girl who said she was gonna go to New York, when she comes home, she's like, "Oh, you're still here." It's like that's a real conversation,
Yeah,
like
it
it
is.
just everything, everything feels right. The family is believable, and like I said, I love when like Crawl is like at the mom, like, "Hey, like this is who you are, but this isn't all you are." And I think
Right.
that's part of the movie is like, no matter where you're at in life, that's not all you are.
Right.
Like, there are always sides to you that you can cultivate a little bit more. Like
Sure, yeah.
It's like they were able to, like the Pauly Shoreness
Mm-hmm.
was like a power source, and they were able to harness it for good.
Yeah.
And like direct it in a way that
And that's-
actually worked for the movie.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, and
absolutely.
I think that's why his character works so well, because like the things that make Pauly Shore just work really well in this movie, and they did. They took what it was and they made it work with the storyline.
Yeah.
and he's
It doesn't overdo it. It's like it's just the right amount. It's a
it
good
just
balance.
feels like that's how Crawl is.
Yeah.
Like it really just fits that character. It brings that character to life and helps bring the other characters to life as well. So I think that's also why his performance is almost like a smoother performance, in the fact that you're not getting too much
Because I
that kind of
still-
takes you off guard by it.
Yeah.
I still like Stoney as a character in Encino Man. I think he's probably the best character in Encino in terms of like he's a good guy at heart.
Mhm.
Like he's
Yeah.
a good dude. He's just always on Dave like, "Hey man, like stop trying so hard.
Yeah.
Like that's why it's not working. You're trying too hard."
Well, it really does
basically.
feel like a natural progression. to
It
Crawl.
really
That's what
does.
Yeah,
Like,
because you can see that he has heart in that movie,
Yeah.
and then like
Yeah.
you really see him come out of that and
And-
use it.
And
Yeah.
he's like, "Hey man, like you're kind of ruining like at the end he's like friends don't do this to each
Yeah.
other. Like, you've got too caught up in the trying to be cool
Right.
to, and it's made you not a good person right now." And just being able to see that and like talk to someone through it. Yeah, it really does. It feels like, and I think the character is just Pauly Shore, but it feels like a natural progression of that.
Yeah, it does.
character to the
I never even
character.
thought of that.
Because like he's just, and since Link's there, I say it's
Yeah, he just
perfect
Right.
he took
universe.
Link to college.
He took Link
Exactly.
to college. It's fine.
Yeah,
Um,
I like it.
Because why wouldn't he?
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you take your caveman?
Right.
I mean, presumably he has a fake ID.
yeah,
Oh, I'm sure.
So like,
yeah.
you
What
could
is
get
it?
him enrolled in
Link,
college.
Link,
You get him a grant,
Right.
scholarship. Be
Link
fine.
Hesky Shavosky or something like that. Like they
Yeah.
give him some like they say
Yeah.
from Estonia, which is so funny to me because it's Estonia. So
Yeah.
it's the Stone Age. It's very like I was like, we chose something with the word stone in it again.
But yeah, I think I was going to say the title of the movie.
Son-in-law.
Son-in-law.
But yeah, I think Son-in-Law, it definitely is better than Encino Man in my opinion.
Yeah.
It just has more to it. It just has more meat on the bones.
does.
There's
It
more
does.
stuff to literally just enjoy. Of course, it's hilarious. I found it very funny, but it does have heart. It has other little subplots. You have the dad and the mom's relationship. You have the dad and the son's relationship. The dad and the father. The boyfriend with Tiffany Amber Thiessen. Like, there's just so many subplots, and they all get an arc. They all get an ending. Like, everything is tied up at the end. I don't know. For me, it's just a great movie.
I don't know what ever happened to him, but I did love Patrick Rita in like this and Sandlot, like the little brother.
Oh yeah, the little brother. Yeah.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
he was a great little actor as a kid, and I don't know that he's ever done much else. but,
He does conventions. I'm pretty sure. I've seen him
Yeah,
at a
I
convention.
know he does conventions. Yeah.
Which, I mean, good for
so
him.
we can get him
Yeah.
to insult. What you're saying is that you can potentially get him to insult you and Sandlot's.
Probably, yeah.
Probably. I mean, I enjoyed this episode because I knew Pauly Shore, of course. I'd seen him on MTV and stuff like that. I'd never really watched any of his movies all the way through, so I did get to experience that.
Reference. I know nothing about the Pauly Shore MTV era.
Yeah, it was like he was just everywhere there for a couple years. Like, he was just all over MTV.
Which is why it surprised me when you said he only made like 5 feature films.
It was like, well,
because I just assumed he had made all kinds.
Like, he got too popular, too big, too fast. Just way oversaturated. And I mean, it really came down to he has just kind of one shtick,
right?
And he just kind of ran it into the ground. If he had transitioned into something different, like if he had done Son-in-Law, and then a further progression would have been something a little bit more maybe dramatic or just a different character. But instead, he just did In the Army Now, which is Pauly Shore in the Army,
right?
And then he did Pauly Shore on jury duty. And then Pauly Shore, they just like Pauly Shore in. So basically, that's what that's what Pauly Shore was doing, and that's kind of why, the offers, ran dry, because he didn't try to do something else.
So how do you feel about this? Because me and Joe were kind of talking about it. So like Pauly Shore, like, do you think that's who he actually is, or do you think it's turned up in the same way like Joe Bob, right? Like,
yeah, it's a character.
It's a character.
It's an aspect of his personality, but like,
I
was watching an interview with him from a few years ago.
Yeah.
And he's basically like he's basically just like, I miss those days. Those days were awesome because I was just like, making movies and like everything was fun and like
right.
So I think like definitely like he just seems like a very carefree, especially back then. Individual, and I mean I definitely think it's amped up a lot, like just the level of stupid and goofy. But I mean I think it's definitely a part of his personality. I think the same thing that's like the Adam Sandler's bit, which he's been doing for 30 years, is part of Adam Sandler. Like,
right,
he just wants to show up in t-shirt and shorts and be like the good guy character that the hot women want to be with for some reason. It's like, what?
He's funny.
Yeah, and it's
I
funny.
mean that's
even though he acts like a baby in most of especially the early movies.
Yeah.
Literally talks like a baby. But like that's his shtick. And
I feel like he's funny in real life, probably in like a more serious way.
Pauly Shore?
No, I mean
Adam Sandler.
Yeah,
I mean I think they're both very funny. Like he still does stand up, I guess. Pauly Shore.
Yeah.
And he made this movie maybe like 15 years ago called Pauly Shore's Dead.
Oh,
which got really good reviews.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That he directed. I mean, I don't think it really.
Is it like a Being John Malkovich kind of scenario?
I mean, I don't know if we're in the Being John Malkovich territory of quality here, but it did get some like good notices. Like, oh yeah, Pauly Shore, and he's done a lot. He's done a lot of voice work. He's done a lot of like guest spots on various TV shows.
I love
him and Carla Gugino. I think were in an episode of Entourage together.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, he's still doing work.
Yeah.
Just not a ton of. Just not.
Yeah, it's just not. It's I mean, it's not. At his peak, but. Yeah, I mean, where Will Ferrell and Adam Sandler, like they eventually, I don't know, they didn't quite ascend as quickly.
Right.
The only other person who really got that big, and it was on a much bigger level, was Jim Carrey,
Yeah.
who went from In Living Color to having Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber,
Mm-hmm.
and The Mask
Mm-hmm.
all come out in the same year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then
Those are
next year
huge.
he did Batman Forever,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just like that is skyrocketing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
percent. Like,
Oh,
but he managed to sustain that. I think because he just wasn't. Aside from that first year, he didn't make. He made like one movie a year.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So it was like you got your new Jim Carrey movie this summer.
Mhm.
What's it going to be this summer? Oh, it's the Cable Guy. Oh, it's a Liar Liar.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Jim Carrey was huge for theater kids growing up. Like,
Oh
when
yeah,
I was in theater, like every boy in theater wanted
was
to
talking
be,
out of their ass.
Yeah, wanted to be the next, wanted to be the next Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Like exactly.
I did it. Me and my
Yeah.
dad did
Oh,
it
yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We watched Ace Ventura a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And like
Us
they're, they were just, he was huge. And I just, I don't know. I can vividly remember like boys each trying to do a better Jim Carrey
Oh yeah.
impression.
It was
Like, it was huge. It was unavoidable.
Yeah, and so I don't know. It's strange how like what the difference is between why he was able to sustain that and why Pauly Shore kind of flaked out.
Yeah.
It must be terrifying kind of to make it as an actor though.
Well, for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah.
Like it has to be exciting, but it also has to be like, okay, well, what do you do with that amount of fame and money when you know that it can go away like
Mhm.
yeah.
tomorrow? Like, because you see it happen. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
how do you plan that?
Right.
Like, if you're gonna make almost $1 million, like Sean Astin, let's say, he's great. He's been in things. But he doesn't work like he did. Like, I mean, he's never going to be Samwise. Like, you know what I mean? He's
No,
never
that's
gonna do-
I got Rudy and Samwise are like those are his
Yeah, I
defining
mean,
roles that
he probably made real good money on Stranger Things, but like the gap between like this and Stranger Things is like that's a huge gap like in
Yeah.
your career, so to speak,
Yeah.
right? So like the idea like oh, I made $650,000 on this one movie because he did on let's use Son-in-Law. That's probably a low number, but like not Son-in-Law,
Encino Man,
Encino Man,
which is
yeah,
still
well,
that's a pretty good paycheck
that's
for
a
him.
great paycheck. But like, how do you plan around?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. No, I know.
how do you know, like, how do you plan, like, oh, I may never get something like this.
This movie may end my career.
This movie
Right.
could end my career. in
They all thought it did. They all
Um,
thought it would. Apparently.
Yeah, so, like, I mean, it must be scary to make it as an actor. I can't imagine. Like, just being like, here's a bunch of money for this one thing. Maybe you'll do it again. Maybe you'll never work another day.
Well, I don't know. You pay me $650,000 being a movie, and I'll be
In anything.
Anything.
I would be.
I don't say I would do anything, but do some stuff.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny, not until you mentioned Stranger Things did I realize where I had seen Sean Astin lately.
Mhm.
And it wasn't Stranger Things. He was actually Becky's boyfriend on The Connors
Oh, was
in
it?
like the last 2
Oh,
seasons
okay.
of the of
Okay.
it.
Okay.
So,
I didn't know that.
but I just kept because I know when I was watching, I was like, why do I know this guy? And and then just now I looked at his IMDb and I'm like, oh,
That's
this is
fine.
why I know him.
Yeah.
Multiple reasons,
His
but
character in Stranger Things is just him again. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
it's
like-
It is.
It's Sam in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
yeah,
Sam.
Because I think and Elijah
it's
Wood.
same in The Connors. He's same character.
I mean, Elijah Wood is too. I think
Hey.
that's just who they are.
Yeah, when he talks about that how like when they did Lord of the Rings, like Sean Astin really took that role of Sam, like caregiver, like
Mhm.
seriously.
Yeah.
So like it was kind of like Elijah Wood's like personal like bodyguard, and
Mhm.
like would get things ready for him and like make sure.
Take care of him.
Yeah, and it was.
Yeah,
I think it's just part of who he is, and he brought that to Sam, and I think. I don't know. So I think if you get a little bit too close to a character, it kind of gets you typecast in that
It
role.
does, yeah.
I can't see Sean Astin like. I mean, it would kind of be fun to see him play like some sort of a villain.
Yeah, I mean,
or-
Dave was kind of a little bit shocking.
I can see him like.
Like,
yeah.
this character is not a good
He's-
guy, and it's weird to see that.
Yeah.
Like,
But I mean, like I could see him in like playing kind of a heavy role in like a David Fincher movie or something. That would be fun.
yeah, they could cast him instead of what's his face in Heretic.
Hugh Grant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hugh Grant was great. That was beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, like,
I could see him in that kind of role.
yeah, I feel like seeing.
Because it's not what you expect.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like you expected that Hugh Grant. I've seen Hugh Grant play a villain several times lately, where he like comes across as smarmy and sweet, and then like flips the switch.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Sean Astin do that.
That would be fun.
Except I wouldn't. I think it'd break my heart.
Sam!
I'm assuming Sam is from
Lord of the
Lord of the
Rings.
Rings.
Okay.
Sam is the hero of War of the Rings.
He is.
Okay.
He is the heart and soul
he-
of that story, of those movies.
Like he is.
Okay.
Frodo is your main character, but Sam is the reason Frodo is able to do any of
Yeah.
it. Like
Okay.
he is.
I'm going to get choked up just thinking.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. The person who did
Okay.
the one print in my office that makes a print called "Bearing the Ring Bearer,"
Oh, yeah?
which I sent to my best friend, from growing up,
Is he carrying him up?
because he's carrying like Frodo up the mountain.
Such a great.
It's so good,
Such a great
and Sam's like never even once tempted by the
yeah, he's like the most pure character.
yeah,
He's really nice to Becky and the Connors.
yeah, he like
I guess just who he is.
yeah, like, he's a perfect Samwise Gamgee because like Sam is like Sam is the goodest of good characters. Like he is sweet, he is kind, he has no ambition. He just wants to be a gardener and marry the girl back in the Shire and Rosie, yeah, Rose.
Rosie.
And like his best friend and employer gets caught up in this mission, and he's like, well, I'm going with you because I'm your bannerman essentially, and ends up climbing Mount Doom with Frodo on his back and like forcing him to drop the ring.
Yeah.
Like,
Forcing him to drop the ring because Frodo won't do it.
Because Frodo won't
Like,
do it.
And
we apologize for the following 2 hours where we just nerd out about
that's
Lord
what
of the Rings.
That's what I was going to say. And that, everyone,
I'm gonna
is
put in the little graphic. I'm just gonna put a Lord of the Rings poster up in
Yeah.
the corner. Like also,
that's what I was going to say.
We really should do
I
that at some point.
I was
oh, Lord of the Rings. We should make him watch Lord of the
We should
Rings.
make him watch Lord of the
The
Rings.
extended edition trilogy.
All three of them.
I was going to say, and this here, guys,
this December, let's do it.
is a snippet of Toby's podcast about Lord of the Rings. I mean, I do feel like it's movies I should see.
Yeah.
I guess because like I know that one little creature says like my
Gollum.
precious.
Gollum,
Yeah.
Smeagol.
That's about what I know from those movies.
Well,
that movies.
That might
those
have to
movies.
happen here in the future. Yeah.
I'm on board. I say let's do that.
Right.
Yeah,
That-
three Lord of the Rings episodes. I think we
Alright.
could do it. I need to break out my Silmarillion and see what we can bring into the scenario.
Just be prepared because that gives me a chance for some kind of epic episode in the future.
It does.
Just so you know.
This is a dual.
Lord help us.
This is a.
Just so you know.
Yeah, but this is a dual effort. So I mean,
Yeah.
we still get another one.
Don't worry, I won't turn it into like Tammy cast or anything.
I don't think Lord of the Rings is necessarily going to be torture for you.
It may
You-
not.
I
I
mean,
might love it.
You play Dungeons and Dragons, right?
Yeah,
That's,
I mean this
that's
is.
the birthplace of that,
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings is like, and all modern fantasy is
based on
from Lord of the Rings. Like,
Yeah.
There's an element of something is in Lord of the Rings.
You ever played an orc or an elf or a
Right.
a
Dwarf.
dwarf?
Yeah.
It's a
Monster,
hobbit,
an orc, whatever.
halfling.
Yeah.
It's Lord of the
Never
Rings.
played any of those, but I
You
get
played
what
a
you're
tiefling,
saying.
which is not in Lord of the Rings.
No.
But
The
like,
Tiefling Bard is my
Right.
is my thing.
Well, tune in 6 months from now.
yeah,
Yeah.
For the
we'll do a Lord of the Rings episode.
Aaron might be done with the movies by then.
Right. That is true. It also gives me all this time
Yeah,
to
it
watch
does give
them.
you a lot of time to like,
Watch them.
I didn't even
Yeah.
think of that. I'm gonna have to do that because
but you're gonna have to
I
take some
shouldn't.
notes probably.
yeah, for sure.
Like if you're gonna like watch them like months ahead of time,
Yeah.
or
Take
like
notes,
space them out.
yeah.
Yeah. Like I mentioned in the beginning, we are going to start our new format next time. I guess I call it format. But basically, next time is going to be our first new movie podcast that we're going to be doing from here on out.
Until we derail it with Lord of the Rings for
Yeah,
episodes.
for sure.
I'm sure we connect sinners to Sauron to some way.
So do join us next time. We're going to do Sinners, and maybe Todd's going to be back for that one.
Todd should be back,
Should be
for,
back
that one.
for that one. And yeah, thanks for listening to us talk about Pauly Shore and
A lot of other things.
everything else that you could even think of.
Mhm.
But until next time, I'm Aaron,
I'm Josh.
I'm Toby.
and this has been The Real Opposites.